What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel. This is Yarn Craig. I cover everything from NBA, WNBA basketball, and all basketball in between, guys. So if that sounds like content you're interested in, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. And I'm not even going to waste no time getting into it. I was watching the Bulls and Nets game a couple nights ago. And what stood out to me particularly was James Harden's play. And, his season averages look good as far as just looking at him raw. But the numbers never really fully tell us everything that we need to know. Like when I look at his numbers, he's averaging 20 points a game, like 9.5 assists, which puts him at the top of the NBA, and about I think it's like 8 rebounds a game. So his numbers, honestly, just looking at it raw like that, look good. But we also know James Harden is an MVP caliber player. He's an MVP caliber talent, but he's playing anything but like an MVP right now. To be honest with you, he looks shaken. It's like he's looking like like he didn't know that Barclays was not a gentleman's club before he got there, because his jersey is retired elsewhere. But I digress. I'm not gonna get too deep into that. But man, he's averaging 27 and 9. And, I looked at his numbers during the wins and losses. And in the wins, he's averaging about 23, 24 points a game. They got 16 wins and 7 losses. In the losses, he's averaging 16 points per game. And that to me was a very, very telling thing when I saw that, which is like number one, he's not right. Something is not right here. Something's not right in paradise. All is not good in Brooklyn. And the reason why I think this is so significant, because there's no Kyrie Irving for the Nets to fall back on. When, James Harden came there and Kyrie was there, Kyrie came out and said, hey, you're the point guard, because James Harden is definitely a better playmaker than Kyrie is. Kyrie's he's a go-getter scorer, but it's not looking like he's coming back. But James Harden has the ability to score and create. We saw it in Houston, where he's won the scoring title before. He's had the assist title back in 16-17, so it's like he can literally do everything on the offensive end on the court. But there's something holding him back in Brooklyn, and I don't think it's all just about the rule changes, even though I think that's a huge part of it. But he's talented enough to still get numbers. So he has complained about, there are two things in particular that really jump out to me, and one of them is more troubling than the other. We know he got injured last year and he wasn't quite himself in the playoffs, and they lost to the Bucks in the Eastern semifinals last year. And he did say that he was not able to train like he wanted to this past summer to get into shape for this season. So that's one thing, and maybe there's some truth to that. I could see that. But the thing that's more startling, the thing that's more troubling to me is that, 3, 4, 5 days ago, he said in the interview, I don't know what my role is on this team. That's problematic when your second best player, your primary playmaker, says he does not know his role on his team. And we're talking about a former MVP. So we know he has the basketball IQ to be a guy that figures it out. That means all is not well in Brooklyn if that's your second best player saying that at, it's still early in the season, but this dude, he's not some burgeoning, he's not a new star. This dude is part of the now's NBA. He's kind of part of the old guard. He's one of the OGs. He's a vet and still a, all-star superstar caliber player, so for him to say that lets me know maybe all is not well in Brooklyn. And I'm not sure how much longer, number one, I'm not really sure how much longer he sticks it out there. Like, I'm not sure Brooklyn is going to be his final destination. I think he's only, 30, maybe 31 years old, 31, 32 years old. But it's very troubling to hear that, you created this pretty much super team dynamic with James Harden, Kevin Durant, Kyrie. And to see it fall apart like this, is a pretty interesting thing. And maybe I'm wrong to say it's falling apart, because we're not even a third of the way through the season yet, so shoot me if I'm wrong, forgive me. But I'm not going to lie, Brooklyn's future does not look quite as bright as everybody thought that it would. And a lot of people suspected, like, are the egos going to break them up? Are they going to be healthy enough to play? Because you got two guys in James Harden and Kyrie Irving who are always injured. But it's the outlier stuff that doesn't even have to do it on the court. Kyrie with the what, and then now James Harden with it's something with his attitude. It's like it just does not look like he's fully there with Brooklyn. In their last game against the Bulls, in which they lost a close one, he looked awful out there. He looked awful. He was missing a lot of shots that he normally would make, and it was one of those games where he literally, I'm not going to say he shot them out of it, but he did not help. He didn't help him. He shot an awful percentage, and it's kind of just indicative of he's shooting 31% of the field, and it's like, hey, you're shooting, you're making less than 1/3 of your shots, and you're a superstar. 16 points in losses, so that's a troubling sign. I'm not sure the Brooklyn Nets are really going to be able to win a title if James Harden does not get it together. A matter of fact, I take that back. They're not going to win a title if James Harden doesn't get it together. They're going to need to see more of Houston James Harden versus whatever this is they're getting in Brooklyn, because they're not quite getting the bang for their buck. So I'm going to go ahead and chop it right there, guys, because I don't think it's too much to really delve into. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. He looks kind of disconnected. He's not performing up to par. He's kind of put a little bit of blame on injuries. He's put a little bit of blame on, I don't know what my role is, which to me that just says trouble in paradise for Brooklyn. And I'm not sure they can win it with them looking how they look. Even though they sit 16-7 at the top of the Eastern Conference, I think they're in trouble, guys. But go ahead and, drop some comments. Tell me if you guys think I'm right, that, there's trouble in Brooklyn, or you think I'm wrong. Like they can still get it together at this point. It's still early. Go ahead and drop likes, comments. Go ahead and subscribe, guys. Peace.